there. Today we are talking about building skills for our course. This one took a long time for me to make just because I wanted to feel really anchored in what I was going to do for my key skills for the course. And I think that in the processing of these key skills, you're also kind of coming up with your end goals and your ideas. And so a lot of your long range planning, a lot of your thinking has to go into kind of the key skills of your course. And often the key skills actually fall into kind of two key categories or two camps, if you will. Regardless of whatever your assessment strategy is, often your skills will fall into kind of two key categories. Often people will look at it from content perspective. So, for example, I'll have like my biology, my chemistry, my physics, and my earth and space unit. So, in our curriculum in grade 9, we do a little bit of all the sciences. And so, teachers will then use those four kind of key units or strands, and then they will use things like lab skills, investigation skills, research projects, that kind of stuff, to look at the biology and then learn a little bit about chemistry and learn about physics and learn about earth and space. The other side is to actually flip that on its head and focus on the skills of science. So your ability to investigate, your ability to do research, your ability to think, your ability to connect, and then use, for example, your biology, chemistry, physics, and earth to then practice your investigation skills, practice your connection skills, practice your communication skills, and kind of go from there. And so those are kind of two key camps. Often when I started off my career, I was in a content-based focus, and then I used my skills to practice the content. And now I've flipped it the other way. So I'm in a skills-based focus, and I use my content to practice my skills. So for me, what I do first is I look at my curriculum documents. A lot of curriculum documents, the bullet points will start with the kind of common keywords like analyze, investigate, think, design, connect. And so what I do is I kind of do colored post-it notes. So biology is a color, chemistry is a color, physics is a color. I write down quick ideas about what those are, and then I'll have like an analyze pile and a design pile and a connect pile. And I find that piling up helps me connect with the language or the key skills. Also recognize that, especially your first time through a course, your skills may ebb and flow and change from like during the year, may change for the next time you teach it. So don't hold yourself firm to these. If you're feeling that something doesn't fit well, then change it. And I think that is also you adapting to the learners in your room, which is kind of the point of being a teacher, right? Anyways, so for me, this year, I'm going to focus on skills and then use my content to then reinforce those skills. And in grade 9, we're going to learn all about like what it is to be a scientist and what science actually means, because a lot of times students will have kind of a stereotypical science view, like I'm in a lab with a lab coat and here we go. And I want to be able to build on that and change it a little bit. So for me, what I did was I looked at the language and I came with kind of 3 key categories of things. Category 1's kind of a very common one. This is something that a lot of science teachers will be really, really familiar with, and that's your ability to investigate. So your lab procedures will be here. The new curriculum also has a lot of engineering references to it, as well as some coding references, modeling references. And all of these kind of categories actually follow the same kind of process or the same key like sections. So you've got your ability to ask questions, develop a process, organize your results, and evaluate your results, and then go through that circle again and again. So whether I'm doing a hypothesis or like coming up with my constraints and criteria, it doesn't really matter whether I'm engineering process, science process, all of them kind of follow the same kind of pattern. And your ability to do these things are really important when it comes to any science, engineering, any kind of design work. Then after I've got that, I also need to be able to, one, do research, because as a scientist, I need to see what information is already out there. And then I also have to be able to, if I have a result, I have to explain my result and explain it in a way that people can understand. Often this will use multiple models. We're talking pictures, numbers, words, symbols, that kind of stuff. So it doesn't have to be just one kind of linear thinking. It's kind of big picture thinking. And then in addition to that, I think that a really important skill that's coming into the new like 21st century science is looking at it from different lenses. So does my idea impact different groups in different ways? Or do other groups or other cultures or other places in the world have different ways of modeling or viewing the same thing that I'm looking at right now? And how do the models compare and contrast? Because I think there's a lot more similarities in there, and it's really good to bring that into the world. The last section is the connection section, and this one I think is really important. We're connecting to the past, so historical theories and ideas. We're connecting to the present. If we can anchor what we're learning to their everyday life, then that will make them more engaged and more excited to be in class and be able to have like the oh moments, which we all live for in teaching. And then connecting to the future. So that's where we are teaching our students to be mindful of our impact